For how long? How many years has it been?
About 50 to 80.
50 to 80?
Just kidding.
Oh, man. It can be. It feels like an eternity.
Not really, It feels great to like continuing to move to reinvent yourself. So it doesn't feel like it's been long or whatever. It just feels like, okay, Shenique, you continue to be relevant,
The relevancy. And that's how we're going to start today's episode. But welcome to Erryting Kool. I always be wondering how I'm going to start this. Because sometimes I be jumping from the ceiling. Sometimes I be just popping out from anywhere.
Okay.
Other times I just, get crazy. Because it's the only space I could really get as crazy as I want to be,
Well, don't get too crazy with me. but have, just go at whichever pace you want to go. Just don't go too wild.
So, as you already know, this is Lord Jaylin Willard, the niggas of Nassau, St. Antoine Alexander, the servant of the people, joined today by another legend. I couldn't believe the first time I saw her. I was like, is this real? And then, like, after probably the first couple of days, I was like, okay, she just like everybody else.
Never.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
The tourists come over to chill on the beach, but they don't come over the hill where we sleep. We got nightmares and they got fantasies. No sanity, it's just insanity. My mommy hoping nothing happens to me.
Insulted.
Please introduce yourself.
I am Shenique Miller, a media personality, talk show host, always a reporter. That doesn't change. That goes with you everywhere. And I'm excited about a number of things, driving the narrative, inspiring people to live their best lives, to live their best healthy lives. I also am a proponent of health and wellness. And I'd like to think that also a proponent of letting my life be an example that you continue to reinvent yourself, continue to push, continue to move one step in front of the next to defy the odds and continue going, and not being afraid of the next thing and walking into that very, very prepared. And if you're not prepared, be prepared as you continue walking, but don't let that stop you.
Indeed. Because I think you've made multiple pivots in your career. But let's before we get into the story of Shenique Miller, on this show we have a specific segment called the Bahamian word, phrase, or saying of the day, and we like to give that to our guests. So give us what you got.
Well, believe it or not, I just cannot think of a Bahamian word or phrase
or saying.
Yeah. Help me, Zhuzh. Let's help me, nudge me along.
What something with your mother or grandmother or some matriarchal figure would tell you?
I'll tell you this, we don't use that many Bahamian sayings, you know what I mean? The way I speak is the way we speak. So I just can't think of, but if you remind me, then I can say, oh yes, that.
No, but you ought to pick it. I can't pick it for you.
Well, I'll tell you this. It doesn't come to mind, but I'll tell you, okay, if we are to go on, and this is not a Bahamian saying, it's just a life hack.
Go ahead.
I think I love D-Mac's dog don't bark at parked cars.
Man, that's a Bahamian saying.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I mean, did he originally compose the lyrics?
I don't think that phrase is his. I think that's, you know what? Possibly, because people say that same thing, but in different ways. Yeah. So it's a Bahamian saying to say dogs don't bark at parked cars.
Yeah.
And my God, jeez, have I had to tell myself that throughout the years, and even more recently, I haven't been in frontline media for a minute, and you would think that people would kind of not pay as close attention to you, whether it's on social media, whether it's on traditional media. But my God, it is so surprising sometimes the things I post, and others would post something just totally far left that makes no sense. But if I post it and make a slip, or if I post it and somehow I have to make a correction, ooh, then you would see that same saying right there totally be so appropriate. Dogs don't bark at parked cars.
And that's the saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let us start in the beginning. What was some of your, I guess, early childhood influences? What was like growing up for you? Paint out that world at that time and how you view the world at that point.
I can remember just sort of at one point growing up in a home that was really awesome and felt so safe. And then around it was this huge yard that we used to go run and play and climb the tamarind trees. And it felt like a nice hideaway and just lush greenness. And unpaved roads, because you turn off the main road to go into that. And so it was just like this haven, I remember that time, that was nice and safe. It just felt that way, rather. And it really felt like a nice hideaway. Like, okay, once you turn through here, you kind of sort of were in your own cocoon.
An oasis or...
That's how it felt.
Okay.
That sort of is something I didn't forget, that feeling. And I don't know. It's some things I have walked away from and just locked out of my memory.
So what was like the first inkling? Like, how you even decided that you wanted to be into news? Because you didn't come up in an era where, I guess, any and everything is possible, like the last 20, 25 years.
You're right, because we just sort of adopted that, anything. We started to believe anything and all things are possible. Well, I didn't even recognize this at the time. But I loved watching the news. I loved watching, oftentimes, Channel 7 News. Oh, my God, if you know them, sensationalists to the T. I'm not sure what Channel 7 does anymore because I have moved on, My tastes have developed and become more sophisticated.
Channel 7 over here?
No. Oh, ew. Channel 7, Channel 7 WSBN in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
And so they were so sensationalized. I mean, they in fact, even because I was in Florida at the time, I remember this, just graduated. And I just took to watching the news, and I didn't realize the difference at the time. So of course they pulled you in because, again, that fast moving graphics and all the rest of it, and they just go, the cat went up the tree and we're live here, and I enjoyed that, not paying attention. Of course, I also loved NBC. These are the affiliate stations I'm talking about in the Florida market. I loved NBC 6. I also loved WPLG, Eyewitness News 10, and I just loved watching the news. Again, it wasn't anything that clicked and say, oh, Shenique, the fact that you love watching the news, why not have this as a career? No, in fact, get this, I don't know if you can see how stylish I am.
You full screen on the monitor.
Ooh, just so fashionista me.
Oh,
and so the reason I said that is because here I am figuring I'm going to go to college and study fashion merchandising, fashion design. Listen, I'm happy that didn't happen. So again, like I said, watching the news. And so like me and my cousins and my aunt, this afternoon we were watching Channel 7. And she's like, early evening. And she say, Shenique, why don't you study broadcasting? And I'm like, broadcasting? Me? She's like, no, I'm telling you, you can do what they do. We enjoy watching the news so often. And you'd be surprised to know what they make. And when she started saying what they made, that still wasn't the thing that pulled me in, though. It's just that same why don't you planted a seed. I wasn't sold at the moment. I wasn't pulled in, but somehow that idea took root. And it grew and grew. And by time for me to go to college, I went and I studied radio and television broadcasting.
Okay.
And so that is how it happened. And
were you of the ones that was like, But I ain't coming back home after I finish this degree.
Maybe at that point, I think I was thinking that because I was so looking forward to like, okay, listen, some of this any one of these Miami affiliates, hire me, bring me on. So I went and I studied radio and television broadcasting. I interned at NBC6, the NBC affiliate in South Florida. I also I volunteered actually at WMBM AM radio in Miami Beach, Florida. And I enjoyed it. I think those were the NBC 6, and that were the only stations in the Florida area. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I was there when they launched their junior broadcasters program at NBC6, and it was really super. And even then, I wasn't serious. You know it is. You're still trifling, sort of. But I paid attention. It was really nice. I saw the junior broadcasters program happen. It was during the summer periods, and it was really amazing. And then it was time for me to do my bachelor's, and I went further north, which was in Texas. So that's maybe north-south, right? Anyways, so again, I did a mass communications degree.
So you have two degrees. Okay.
I did a mass communications degree, and I interned there at the ABC affiliate in Dallas. I forgot the call letters right now, but I interned there, WFAA, I think it is, and I had a great time. And now this was when I was like, oh, no, as soon as I'm done, I can't graduate fast enough because I want to go back home and make a contribution to my country. And I want to go and I want to be, no, I have a lot to give. I have a lot to do to my, in my country. So that was when, for sure, I was like, I have to come home and make an impact.
Around what time was this? This was like
2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we post Ingram administration.
In the Ingram administration.
Okay, so this is 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
All right.
And he won for another time.
Yeah, but that was more so in 07. So
yes, exactly. No, before then.
Yeah.
And so I came here back to the Bahamas, and I got a job at the Tribune. I started in print.
Okay.
And, to put all that theory into practice now. And so I started in print, which is excellent. I'll tell you this. Anybody getting into broadcasting, it doesn't always have to be the case, but anybody would tell you, like, if you notice the greats, many of them started in print. And what broadcasting used to be many years ago, obviously it was a strong focus on writing. You had to be a very strong writer, strong storyteller to be able to then convey that on the camera. And so I spent 2 years at the Tribune, and that was a wonderful training experience, a great experience as well, working with a lot of strong minds, and their focus was obviously print. In fact, some of them are still in print, and they've kind of veered into radio a bit. But yeah, I had a good time.
But you just wanted to be the star.
Well, so I know, right? So again, I never fell out of love with NBC. And at this time, at this point, I was like totally vibing on the network. I still watched NBC6 because, we get it here. But I was on NBC. I love the Today Show. I love the style of the interviews. I love how the main anchors, then how they just interviewed with such skill and still to disarm whomever the subject was, whether it be a president, a CEO, a celebrity, whomever it was. They did such an incredible job with the interview. I studied that interview technique and skill that they had. I'm talking about Matt Lauer, Katie Couric, a number of them, and Curry. And I was like, man, I love the way they interview. I just love it. I love the way they are so at ease with the camera. You'd never know there's a camera there. They're just telling stories. They're anchoring, and they're just so in command, but it's not stiff. It's just relaxed. They're talking to you. And these are things. And so what I did, I'm so strong in faith, right? So I'm like, dear God, I want to have that kind of talent. I want to be that kind of broadcaster like them. Just like them. Nobody here was my competition. They were my competition. They were people who inspired me. And so so then I went obviously I started at ZNS. And so.
Which year exactly this was? Because I grew up watching you on TV.
2000. And I started.
You sure was it But you said you was at the Guardian around this time.
No.
So you was in the Guardian.
No, I was in the Guardian. I started at the Guardian in 2014.
Wait, hold on. So when you came back home, you started at ZNS first.
No, Tribune.
Oh, okay. I'm confusing.
Okay, right. Because I saw you say Guardian.
Yeah.
No, that comes later.
Yeah.
With many of my bumps in this, like you say, I had many pivots. Yes. Yeah. So I started at ZNS, and I determined that I didn't want to be anybody else at ZNS but me, but I wanted the influence to come from people I admired abroad, who I thought did exceptional work. And I continued to work on my skill, my delivery, my writing, my storytelling, my hosting, just all of it that I got an opportunity to do at ZNS, because somehow the producers and management saw a talent in me that they gave me great opportunities to go host 12 hours of live television for Junkanoo, opportunities to host various national live events, that type thing. And I wasn't always great at it every time, or certainly not in the beginning. But again, I focused in on my skills. I treated NBC and MSNBC and other networks as sort of my classroom for how it's done, how I like to see it done. Mm-hmm. And I studied those people, and not to imitate them or mimic them, but certainly to develop that confidence in the interview, the command of the screen, the command of the set. And so, yeah, that was sort of how I moved through ZNS.
Okay, so take me back. What was like the social climate at that point, to where, because obviously things change since the advent of social media and all this technology, and how I think now a lot of, I don't know specifically for newscasters, but I think for other like mediums where, you know, how you said most broadcasters will have to come up the ranks as writers first and then become like, you know, talking heads. I feel like people cast more for who's a good person on camera. They don't really have to have a strong pen, but we could write for you and then you just deliver the lines or whatever. So what was like being in that space? How did it feel? Like, how did you sort of forecast the rest of your career going from that standpoint? Like being, you know, I would say a on-screen reporter, going out the field doing these somewhat, I guess, I wouldn't say traditional, but these was the mainstays, you know, hosting Junkanoo and things like that. Then probably 4 or 5 years later, I could do TikToks on the phone.
I know, right?
How did you even feel about all of this? You know,
I like it. I think.
Did you think like it would have been this easy? Yeah, okay.
No, because I'll tell you I like it, and also I sort of like don't cheapen the industry, because now everybody is a reporter. Yeah. Oh, everybody is a reporter. Everybody is a talk show host. Everybody goes live and whatever. So there's that, and so that is why social media has become the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. And that is why many mainstream, I wouldn't even say mainstream anymore, traditional media have a huge presence on social media, whether it's TikTok, you bet right, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I don't know who pays attention there anymore, but people pay attention. Facebook is still very relevant, but I say that to say, again, it's vexing to see how people figure that they have sort of come in and managed to squeeze their way in the space, and then figure they could somehow take over the space, because now everybody's an influencer. Everybody's a talk show host. Everybody has their online show. Everybody, you know, all this stuff. But with that said, though, I think it's excellent. The reason it's excellent for people like me, who are traditionally trained, who are trained to deliver the news and tell you the story, it sharpens you if you are smart. Because if you're not vexed at it and dismiss it and figure who these people think they are and where they're going and who so-and-so, because, you know, they're their brand. Everybody got a brand now. But if you choose not to, I hate to use the word hate or dislike what the rest of them are doing now, and you step in there with the training, and you step in there with your experience and all this thing that you have to bring to that space, learning, of course, how to be very crafty and engaging and creative, because you have to be creative with your videos and the rest of it and the way you present it. But with all of that, and also continue to up your skill, continue to sharpen your skills and sharpen yourself, your image, all the rest of it, I think we can still win in this space. And that is those of us who are traditionally trained. We can still win in this space if we see how the game is being played now, master that game, and bring us to it.
Okay. So what was your aim at that time? Because obviously we know what has happened since your days at ZNS. But at that time, like, how did you forecast the rest of your career? Like, where you thought you would end up?
At the time at ZNS?
Yeah, at that time.
So, as I tell you, it's so funny. Yeah, so I saw myself, I don't know if I wanted to retire from, meaning like, work there for so many years that I retire. I always saw myself doing something else. What that was exactly, not sure. Was it my own business? Was it my own media house? Was it
Shenique Miller Productions?
I know, right? Miller's Media Group. Was it maybe some executive corporate position, still doing media on the side and doing stuff? Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure, but all I know is I had my future at ZNS included, even if I left eventually. Okay, I've anchored, I've done. I don't even know. Certainly, though. Anchoring on a long-term basis, I guess.
You wasn't doing any anchoring at that point?
Yeah, I did. That's why I say I don't know, because I anchored on a long-term basis. But you understand what I mean? Like officially anchoring on a long-term basis. Like how the people before me did. Yeah. I had shows. Like I'm telling you, I am blessed, and at ZNS it did some stuff that many a reporter, I'll never forget it, called a meeting with the bosses about me. I was in that meeting and said, I have walked on their backs to get to the top. And that was very shocking to me, because I'm like, I walk, where does this happen? And what top am I on? I'm simply coming into work, working 16, 18 hours a day. That was me, by the way. Loved it. Like I just love what I do. Working those hours a day to produce the best stories ever. And when opportunities come, I was presented with them because producers love working with me. They figured that I had a good knack for going live and ad-libbing and keeping the broadcast going. And that's something I worked on very often. I didn't just sit and say, I can do this stuff. No. You don't sit and get comfortable. You continue honing in and you continue tweaking and perfecting. And so I had the good fortune of having a number of shows at ZNS that I hosted. And this is outside of national events and special occasion live broadcasts. This was something that was steady. I had a show called Press Pass, and where members of the press, like your network programs, let's say, for example, think of Meet the Press, but would come together, roundtable setting, very fast-paced, very awesome, good graphics, wonderful set, all the rest of it. And we talked about the headlines of the day. Imagine that. And so, and all right, it doesn't change. You just step up into it and make it yours, right?
Yeah.
And So when I left ZNS.
So this was like 2009 when you left, or?
No, 2014.
It was that recent?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was gone from home for like a 5-year hiatus. So like between 2012 and 2017, I don't know nothing.
No, I'm telling you, 2014, and that's because I was victimized. The politics here in this country is amazing, and the way ZNS covers a political and election campaign is the strongest. The senior reporters get the government and the opposition. The strongest of the senior reporters get the government, and then the other senior reporters get the opposition. So it's split that way. And you don't cross that. And so I remember 2012, that election cycle, I remember saying to the news director, listen, let me go cover one or two rallies for the opposition at the time. I ain't calling who was opposition or who's government. I'm like, let me go cover. And she's like, no, you assigned to where you assigned, and that's the way it's going to be. Well, of course, the government then did not win that election. And I was victimized because of, after I had to be whoever that party was. Then in 2014, management at The Guardian called me, and because I was kind of just sitting there in a garage space, but we're not going to go in that all through that. But
So you was already, so 2012, you was already from ZNS?
No, I was at ZNS still.
But then they just sort of shelved you.
Yeah, because that's how they victimize. That's how they treat you. That's the kind of things they do.
Okay, so you was shelved for 2 years.
Basically, I mean, I was called on to do something here and there. In fact, I think I created a show that was not. It just sort of was there, but mainly, I would go and just have a seat, and certainly for well over a year until they started calling on me to do stuff, and let's say this weekend, this is 2014. So this weekend I think the Bahamas games are the World Relays. The World Relays had to be because a lot of American athletes were here and international athletes, track and field track athletes. And I was, again, asked to cover because I'm grateful to God because I have a skill for telling awesome feature stories, not just hard news. Mm-hmm. And of course, also hosting live broadcasts or being a part of a live broadcast, etc. And I was selected to be part of the team for the World Relays, and it was amazing. I did all the feature stories for it, and that it was an excellent, successful weekend. And that Monday, I tendered my resignation to go to the Guardian.
Hold on. Well, you jump around a little bit. Okay, so when you left the Guardian.
I left the Guardian in 2018.
Okay, so was you just jumped from 2014 to 2018?
Okay, no, I didn't. I tendered my resignation at ZNS to go to the Guardian because I had accepted their offer. The Guardian's offer. The management reached out to me and said they want to launch a show just for women, primarily to come in and then I created The Conversation and The Conversation with Shenique Miller, and it was a show that really kind of delved into areas.
I feel like this was like the Conversation era was like your peak era to where it was like, because I feel like your name was like bubbling and always like you was going viral or clips from that show. Is clips from that show still?
You're kidding.
Yeah, remember when I showed you the other day? It was a snippet.
But the thing is, that was at ZNS because I went back to ZNS in 2018 with The Conversation. I took it with me. Okay. But to me, it was it really did exceptionally well. I didn't even know it did so well at ZNS. It was super at The Guardian. Of course, it was launched there. Yeah. And I took it back to ZNS when they offered me a job, a space to host the show. And so The Conversation was amazing. It still is, but I haven't done it in a minute. It's there. The Conversation is still there, hanging in the balance, right? Okay. But I know, Joe. But The Conversation was super. I really got to truly be the talk show host that I always thought I was. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying that was peak you. Like,
What do you mean peak? Excuse me.
When I say peak, I think
still have so much more to peak.
No, but when I say peak, I think more so when you came to. This is like you entering your prime in your career, and it's like everything hitting on all cylinders. And, whatever you do, you just press a button and everything just magically happen. Well, not magically happen, but just automatically happen. Ain't no slack. And this probably, would you say this was the most freest you felt in your career? Or?
Yes, I truly, I felt so amazing doing The Conversation. Guys, forgive me. I have to understand what's happening here. So he asked me about today's social media and the fact that it's now mainstream. Well, I have to say I appeared on his podcast, so I'm getting a little bit of this action. And so forgive me.
Now y'all see what I have to go through on a daily basis.
I don't like him.
We will get to that after this one.
Yeah, no, we'll get to that because the way you treat me. But anyway, why does it look like this? But anyway, go ahead.
No, it's supposed to look moody.
I don't even know.
No, you talking about with the hard shadows?
No, this right here. This. I don't get it. Like,
this is one element. This is one area I help her out with a daily basis. How to find that nice light. Not putting on filters. Different things. So like that post where she was giving some inspirational words. I was somewhat of the architect behind that. But so The Conversation So why you don't feel like the conversation was, you don't want to call that your peak era?
No, because the reason I wouldn't say the conversation was my peak is because I continue to grow. I continue to push myself and challenge myself. I wouldn't say anything is my peak. Yeah, I had some incredible successes and highs on the conversation. It was amazing. It was something that wasn't being done in the Bahamas. I tackled taboo topics. I talked about sex a great deal. I went explicit with sex. I talked about relationship. Listen, and in the Bahamas, I tell you. And so I was explicit. Like, for example, here's a show. I had these. Oh my God, I used to do some stuff.
This was when you had the Paris and.
No, I don't even know what it was. No, I'll tell you. Let me tell you. There were several shows, right? There were several shows. But this show in particular was amazing, right? These girls even shocked me. Every time I went to a break, I was like, what chocolate? Don't say that. What can you say? Because they were like, I don't even know what the topic was, but obviously it had to do with squirting and pleasing your man. And so those are the things. But I'll tell you this: wait.
Urka allowed this on there?
Oh, you have no idea. I was reported to Urka so many times. I'm telling you what I did. I am so telling you that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm telling you of what I did and how just how it was. It was groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking in this country. Not that anybody hasn't talked about sex before me.
But I think you just was the biggest name in any name.
Right, that's it. Yeah. To come from traditional media, and here I'm talking about. Yes, that's what I think. That's what it was.
Like we turned into a shock jock.
Yeah, boy, I didn't even say it.
Listen, I get a little bit, classifications and studying and thing. Oh man. So that period happened. Well, you was doing that. You went back to ZNS. So what was all right, okay, so obviously you're saying between 2014 and 2018. So obviously which I like to call, and I always discuss this with a lot of my peers, I feel like when I came back home in 2017, everybody had this whole, I want to be an entrepreneur and start my own business. So was you doing, have any inclinations or any side ideas, or was you even sort of figuring out the whole influencer market?
That's so funny. People are now saying I love health and wellness. I push it because I think this country desperately needs it, and the wider world, right? So I've become this health influencer, which I just want to influence people to be healthy. But the influencer, initially, that influencer name irked me.
Right.
And it irked me because, excuse me, y'all are influencers. If you ain't getting paid Kardashian money to be an influencer, go sit down. And so the influencers, I used to hate that word because they thought somehow if they post something that if they went and God forbid,
viral.
Yes, and they, God forbid, come up on a crime scene or something, anything that went viral, they really felt they were on level with me.
They told you that, or you thought that?
No, I didn't think that. I don't try assume.
Okay.
No, they feel it.
Okay.
You know, we.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Shenique, we. Oh, flippin' we. We use French, or royal. Like, let me know what you are. Let me know if you are royalty or you French. Because what I have put in, the work, the fact that I toed the line, the fact that I paid my dues, the fact that I continue to study, the fact that I can go and I can stand with anybody from NBC, ABC, anybody and report from wherever it is. You can't do that. Sit down. Influencers don't do that. Don't ever get it mixed up.
But you could be an influencer and still be a seasoned reporter, though. That's two different things.
That's two different things. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying I am now an influencer. I'm an influencer for a number of things. I want to be an influencer for more. But I think, and this just happened by happenstance, I'm an influencer just to say, hey man, let's eat more greens. Let's be more healthy. Let's be fit. Let's be active. Because of my passion for that. That just sort of happened. That was not crafted. It was not planned. It just sort of happened.
That's very, very, very telling. So, as you're going up, as to being this influencer, are you seeing more deals come into play and you're generating like side revenue?
Now, one thing with my influencer gig, that the so-called full-time influencers are getting that I'm not getting are the deals. In a way, people call me and they still treat me as a reporter, as a journalist, as the talk show host, meaning that they instead of paying me, they feel as though there are some. No. To be fair, there are opportunities where there is an exchange, payment for service. However, not on the level that many of the influencers are getting.
You talking about Bahamian influencers, or are you talking about?
Oh no, I'm not talking about the U.S. influencers. They are major.
Well, you ain't get that hit.
No,
right?
exactly. You see, right. I'm talking local influencers because there are some influencers locally are doing very well, and I admire them for that. Yeah, I do admire them for that. There's no dislike or hatred on my part. They're excellent. If you can carve out your niche, run with it. It's just so funny because we're seeing differently. People still treat me as Shenique Miller, but see them as the influencer, But I'm changing that, and I think it's up to me to change it because obviously step into the space, develop several streams of income, step into that space, own it, and know how to separate the lines of no, media personality, influencer. Let's get this done. I've built and again, unplanned, unknowingly to me, I've built platforms on social media that I can now monetize, and I'm continuing to move forward in that vein and see where it leads. But in terms of business, it's not just influencer. I think I have a lot to give to maybe media training,
consultancy,
perhaps my own media operation, which on social media I kind of sort of already operate, and so I'm excited about what's ahead.
Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We can get into the Beyond the Headlines segment.
Jesus, so the way he's laughing, I don't want to talk about it because I don't know who listens to you here.
No. I'm going to keep it really surface level, but let's take a quick water break and come right back. All right, and we're back. I'm here with the legend, Mike Cross, on most days, and we can tell you why.
No, the way he treats me. How about but tell your listeners and viewers that.
Okay, so actually, my other podcast with Mother Sick, I've spoken about at length my career path journey, and part of my new job is actually producing her show that she is the host of. Would you like to tell them what your show's name?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Let's start from that point and then we can jump into where my path and your path me. So, Beyond the Headlines, how did you get that gig? How did you feel about it? Did you feel like you made it back into the big times? If this is another layer of growth, tell me how you feel mostly about that.
So I host Beyond the Headlines. It's a news show, and it okay, forgive me. Let me just make sure this is excellent. Okay, guys, I'm just doing a little TikTok and everything else at the same time. Be quiet. I don't want you. If you tell them, spell Erryting as I.
Right.
So, I host a news show, and it's nothing new to me because even at ZNS, very early on in my career as a broadcaster, I was charged with hosting a weekly news show, which was super. It was hugely successful, and it featured totally those in the media, reporters, maybe a talk show host, but here or there, but just mainly news reporters. And what we did, obviously, analyzed and gave opinions and perspectives on the news, the big stories of the day. So I began hosting Beyond the Headlines last year. I took over from the creator of the show, who came off a tremendous high, which was the election season. He created that show and then, of course, went on to great success, especially, as you can imagine, in election season. where everybody is where everything is high, the expectations, everybody is just, really paying attention and into that. So then he moved on to another opportunity.
Greater pastures.
Yeah, absolutely. He
moved on
he moved on to another opportunity, and I was approached to sit in for him, and man, that was another stretch, in my opinion, for me. Not the fact of, say, I'm hosting an evening show, which I've done before. It's the fact of stepping in immediately
after the high
of the election season, which was minimum of a year. So stepping into that, and the people still, their appetite still very much wet for that. And here I am, I step in. My style is different. The election season is over. And now I have to try recreate the show. I'm not necessarily recreate in terms of changing the premise of the show. It's a new show. However, when I say recreate, it's no longer an election season. It's no longer that coming in, all that stuff like this. It slows down. And so you've got to now pick up the show, pick up everything and make it happen. And man, let me tell you, here's what I imagine this was like and how it felt like for me. One, I was attacked left, right, and center and dragged to no ends, right? Mercilessly. And because people wanted what they wanted. And for some reason, people are slow to realize, hey, wait a minute, it's a different season, it's a different day. It's a different person. It's and all the rest of that. And so that is how that happened. So it was very slow in turning, in my opinion. It was quite slow. It was brutal in the public space, or maybe the online space. It just took a lot to turn that show.
So you took on the show, this was like late last year or the beginning of this year?
No, late last year.
Okay, so this is November 2021?
Don't call that year. Don't call that month, please. It was September, but don't call that month.
Okay. So it was basically fourth quarter 2021. And so did it turn around when it, January 2022? Or when you felt like things was a little bit turned in more in your favor?
I don't even know when it happened. All I know, it started happening when meaning I didn't pay attention. I stopped, and initially I was paying attention. Initially I was very disturbed about it because if I were to be honest, it wasn't something that I desired. The show is because I was in the space of
trying new things,
and also had no gig of my own, only on social media.
Yeah, because between you leaving, setting as you was doing the conversation
on social media,
and
exactly.
You was doing it on your own.
Yes, I was doing it on my own.
And I saw that, and I was trying to not to just backtrack. I was trying to figure out. I wonder how she monetizing.
Yeah, no, this transition. Yeah, it was really it was cool. The obviously not funded the way I wanted it to be funded, to the level, but certainly monies were coming in that I can pay the production person, that I can pay an assistant. Sometimes I don't know money after that. But no, so like I said, that's why I told you about still sort of operating a business on social media, but working to turn that into something even more prominent and that's fixed. And so I early in this year, I began to feel the shift, and the shift came when people would, and genuinely, you could tell the difference, genuinely people would be like, oh, I listened even no longer than today. I went out, I had a few meetings, then I had some errands to run. I love your show. I listened to your show. I wasn't hearing that at all. And then even if somebody said it here and there, you can read the room, This, if you're good, this business, especially this career in front of the camera, also allows you an opportunity to exercise and sharpen discernment. And so
sort of read body language.
To read all that, exactly. Yes, exactly, Yeah. And so for people, when they say it now, I'm like, boy, wow, thanks. I believe it. I believe it. Okay, great. I'm happy for that because I came into the chair with other expectations and aspirations, and they have not dwindled at all. Beyond that, that's just so. But while I'm there, though, I don't want to cheapen it. I don't want to not do a good job or the best job I can do for the brand, for the company that I work for myself. And so I say that to say I don't cheapen it. No day. Some days it's a home run. Other days it's like, dang, the show finished yet. But I still try my best every day to do a great job. Okay. And so I felt it. Now I can say it's turned. I can't. I wasn't paying attention to tell you when the turn started. Okay. But it has.
The turn started when I came on board.
Oh please. You all have no idea. He's quite ugly to me.
Oh man. So thus enters wow. So when I started at the place that should not be named, I was like, now I get to see like how this really like happens behind the scenes and how everything works.
So what was your opinion of me when you first started working with me on the show? And
I thought you was mean at first. And then I was like, oh, she's sort of goofy like me.
People don't get it. Like I have a sense of humor and I am goofy. You know what I mean? Like I don't show it. You have to know me to be like, Shenique is such a ding. But it's nothing I show out there like that. I don't think.
Yeah, because it's like, like you get like, people who when you see them, they be like, I know if this person smiling, maybe is they really smiling or are they just a little shady.
No, so I don't do shade.
Oh, but yeah.
Shade is for idiots.
But yeah, it has been a very interesting thing. It's never in my wildest dream, I would think. Okay, so after many years of seeing someone to the farm, you start to finally get close, and you be like, "Okay, this isn't what exactly I expected, but I thoroughly enjoy everything that this comes with, because it's days when
And I do silly things. I know it. For example, I would like poke you, like.
There's many times he has hit me. And almost tripped over herself.
OMG.
And I'll be like, don't hurt yourself trying to hurt me. But it's interesting just seeing how a lot of sort of media rips up in podcasting from 2019. So doing this on a smaller version. But this is a whole even different medium because this is more so long-term conversation, sort of commercial breaks and things like that. And that's why you see a lot of people in traditional broadcasting go to podcasting because you can have longer conversations. It's less censorship because you put in it. Well, if you put it on YouTube, certain things you can't say it how you say it. Now, obviously, your words could still be used against you, but it's a longer conversation and you could delve deep. It's a little bit more intimate. So it's like you people could feel relaxed versus like the other day when a guest had camera fright.
Listen, oh my gosh, that happens a lot. And what I try to do, I try to inspire the guests, whomever they are. And sometimes you're live. In the middle of it, the person would freeze up. And I would be like, I would take over and try to give a leading question. See, all of this is experience where your little influencers. No,
I ain't no influencer.
Your little influencers, yeah. So, but the thing is, there's a way to sort of bring somebody along and put them at ease again and let them let's continue this interview and not to have to obviously embarrass them by having them just freeze up and look like deer in headlights type thing.
If you're hearing humming, that's not my phone. That's Miss Busybody's phone over there. But I think that does comes with practice and experience because not everybody, because we think everybody has access to these smartphones. We think, okay, well, you be so bold in your TikToks, we could put you in the set and you have to talk and
No,
either to the
believe
camera.
me, I've learned that.
No.
I have had people say, "Oh, Shenique, you must have so and so on because they are so amazing on social media. We go at it and we discuss this." And I'm like, "Listen, you all." And it's so. I'll tell you another thing. Experience.
Different.
Oh yeah, experience also brings this. It makes you be able to read someone quickly. And I can tell those who got it and can actually come and bring something to a television news show versus those who they're only good for social media. Yeah. And I've been right every time.
Or even not even just large television, even something like in the front of a crowd. Like when we put them on the stage.
That's true
and
too, because I'll
yeah.
tell you, it took me, I'm not the comedian. I don't expect me to go to your party and be like, yeah, MC. However, when it comes to engaging an audience to host like a seminar, a conference, that type thing, I've had to grow into that. I've had to grow into speaking to an audience and maybe being a little funny and whatever, because I always was seen as the reporter, as the news anchor, as, the talk show host. Now you become a personality when you can do all of that and bring it together.
Oh man! But what is let's just transition to something that really intrigued me and somewhat I guess I didn't expect it, but because everybody on the health tip. But are you a strong proponent of living a more healthier lifestyle?
Well, it started in 2016. After, like, my mother had an issue in 2015, and it turned, I had no idea what it was about. And my mother turned out had diabetes, and I was like, whoa, what the dickens is that? What the
dickens?
Yeah. I was like, what is that? And then, so thank God, she got over that. And
so y'all reversed she had type 1 or type 2?
Type 2. No, okay. It's all what more than 70% of the world, 80% of the world is doing, eating themselves into oblivion, right?
Well, a lot of people don't know you could reverse.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you what my crusade is about then. And in late 2016, the World Health Organization, along with PAHO, released some statistics about the fattest nations in the world.
It was like top 10 or something like that.
Number 6.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the Bahamas is number 6. And along with that comes the non-communicable issues that food bring, And I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm obese, but I'm certainly overweight. I am overweight. I'm in this category. Like, I'm over, like...
When you say overweight, you're talking about for your height and... Like your body mass index was over.
Well, I didn't even know what it was. I just felt like, Shenique, you're overweight. You do something about this. So I initially, right away, because that was the end of 2016, I began 2017, still focused on that, continuing the conversation. I don't even know what drove me to it. Again, a lot of things just happen very organically. And so a lot of things just happen quite organically. Forgive me, yeah. So after it did, February of 2017, I came across some supplements from a company called Unicity. And what drew me to that is that I heard of great success stories. I'm not going to call names, but one of our elite athletes, his father had his heart failure and condition turned around. Another gentleman, I heard also the same thing. And I believe, I didn't hear about the diabetes and the weight loss and stuff then. I just heard that they got healthy. And I believe in prevention.
Which is better than cure.
Exactly. Yeah. I believe in prevention. And so when I heard about it, I was in Washington. And I'm like, the minute I return home, I'm going to go and look into this. And I did. I'm talking when I cleared customs, when I got in my car, I called the lady who I was told that, she would have more information to know about it. And I can begin trying these products through her. And I did immediately. And I went on to lose more than 50 pounds because I'm tall, I'm 5'10". So people, especially Caribbean black men, they feel as though, man, you everything Irie, you okay, you curvy. No.
You gotta be curvy
because you're
right.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so I did that journey. This was 2017. I lost that weight. I felt amazing.
So when you dropped 50 pounds, like you was like around 135 or one.
I love you. Like, I ever told you how much I love Justin?
No, sometimes she say she hate me. Sometimes she love me.
How the dickens, Justin? Even now, I am 5'10", 135. I'm not trying to be a supermodel. So no. So no. I even need I'm not even 135 when I lost whatever that was, 55 plus pounds.
I think that's why they probably were saying you was fine because you had the height, so you was carrying it.
Right,
well,
and
like,
people always like, no way, oh my God. But yes, and don't be fooled by that, especially us women in black countries, where the men figure they want. How did it go again? People used to say to me, listen, dog for bone, meat for man, some kind of foolishness like that. And no, do not be. And I tried very hard and still do to get us women to not pay attention to that narrative, not pay attention to men who say that and make us feel like we somehow have to be, I don't know, the Kardashians. The Kardashians don't mind them. They're butt good. They're waist snatched.
Yeah, but they don't. Even though they might look voluptuous, they don't weigh.
They are not voluptuous. Meaning they're curvy.
Look.
Yeah, they're curvy. But those girls are super tiny.
Yeah.
They have no body. They have no fat to speak about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that body mass index.
Exactly.
So that's why I said they look voluptuous,
exactly.
but they don't weigh all
they
of
build
that.
where they need to build, but they're healthy too. Look at what they eat
But they're rich too.
That's all. No. See, don't use that. Those they're rich. They could easily pig out in front of us every time. Yes,
Yeah.
Meaning they could have the fattest food, the fatty foods, the this, that. No. You look at what they're eating. It's rare you see them eating something more than a salad and whatever. Some protein or whatever. And I say that to say, and I'm not talking about them, we're talking about us, everyday people like you and me, and what we can do. I teamed up with the Ministry of Health and several other health influencers and other companies here locally in the Bahamas, along with World WHO and PAHO in particular, the local arm. And we launched this 100,000 pound weight loss challenge. But more than that, just to get people thinking about food differently, making better choices, making wiser choices. And I did that program with the Ministry of Health for over a year, and it went very, very well. People were talking about it.
But
now,
this still
what
don't
I
need
push,
to be, well, not to interject, but I think campaigns like that, as well as a campaign from the central bank did from 2018 called Get Money Smart, that don't need to be one and done things. I think these things need to be continual because the information.
But that is what I do, and you're right. Perhaps I need to approach the Ministry of Health again. I was very happy to hear Prime Minister Davis say last Saturday that he really wants to be focused on health and wellness moving forward 2023 and beyond. Of course, we're hosting Carifta and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary of independence in July after that. And then the year following, it's the World Relays. So it's good to hear that that's his focus, but it shouldn't be for a particular event. I want this to be a lifestyle. I'd like to partner with the Prime Minister. Imagine partnering with the Office of the Prime Minister to really make this a national mandate. Because it's needed. The Bahamas is fat. Children, more and more children are now obese and diabetic and the rest of it. And so it's not just the Bahamas, it's the region, it's the United States, it's this Western Hemisphere. In fact, the influences of North America is spreading over also into Europe and the United Kingdom. And so the message can go wide. I certainly, of course, am a proponent of this message on my social media handles, in particular very strongly now TikTok, to get people to think about health and wellness, think about what they're eating, think about moving. I also am a proponent still of the Unicity products that are extremely beneficial, scientifically backed and supported by many hospitals to do exactly what they say. And so my family is on the Unicity products. I am. And because I believe, if for us to do what we want to do and moving forward in life and aging and all the rest of it, just being who we are, where we are, in the space we are, why not show up as our best, most healthy selves?
Mm-hmm. But before we wrap up, tell me a little bit about the Unicity different products. Like what?
Yeah, sure. This is you see how green this is. So this is Super Green. Super Greens is a powder. People would know it. It's a chlorophyll filled spirulina, basically vegetables into a powder form. There's matcha. Everybody knows matcha tea. Well, this matcha is high grade, grown in Japan and harnessed by Unicity. There's some Unimate in there. People would know of the yerba mate plant. This is the Unimate that together is shown again to fight things like obesity, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, which is a huge issue among our people, simply because of what we're eating. Heart disease is something too that must be addressed, you know. Yeah. And so I want as many people as possible. I want to lead the crusade again. I want to be able to get people thinking healthy again and eating healthy and getting on Unicity products, because it only benefits you. Invest in something that will bring you great rewards for now and the rest of your life, and the rest of our lives is good quality, wonderful health and good quality life. But it takes us making the effort, being intentional about it, and eating well. Eating for our health, eating as many colors as possible, eating wonderful, rich salads and greens and the rest of it. It sounds boring? Well, maybe to you, but you want boring, or you want issues where all your money is going and to try and regain the health that you could now get? No, let's just begin making better decisions.
That's the most I've ever heard you talk for almost an hour straight.
You bet right, because I don't. And what's funny, I'll tell you this. Well, I got myself in the mindset like, okay, let me give Justin what he wants me to give him. Because I'll tell you, people will be surprised to know this. I don't talk much. Do I, Justin?
I know she doesn't.
No, I don't.
She'd be like me most of the show.
I ask questions, and then outside of that, I don't like to do all this. I don't talk much.
No, but that's my sort of interview style. I like to just like, hey, let me lob this question. You break it down. I know you well versed in whatever topic. I don't need to interject with it. Like, give me the information. That's
how I conduct an interview as well.
Yeah. So, are you the supplier for Unicity?
Yes.
So, like, with the products, like, what's the general price range?
Well, you certainly can go on my link.
Okay, send me a link, because I might need some stuff to...
Oh, sure, I will. I will. We're doing something called Feel Great right now. Don't mind me. I go on more products than on the site because I know the value of them and the health benefits. But it's two products that do the same thing as well, the Balance and the Unimate. And it's called the Feel Great system. And... it's I think it's different ones, and it's like one something or whatever for the two of those 1 month each products. And but like I said, for me the sacrifice, the investment is so worth it, because we are grateful to God that my mother is on these products, my father, and I also I'm a proponent of this. This is a lifestyle for me, and I plan to certainly continue this lifestyle well into my 90s. How about that? Let's speak that. But I also want people to understand what you're eating. This holiday season, we are going to just chomp down on so much sugar and so much bad foods. You can swap those ingredients out and still enjoy it and have an incredible holiday season with incredible food with your family, and also, include wonderful supplements like this. But so there are so many things I want to do with anybody, anywhere in the world. We are now just really a click away from each other. And so there are many things I want to do with people, including changing what's at the end of our forks.
I think that's a noble thing indeed. So what's final thoughts on what's next for you in this illustrious journey?
Forging ahead with my own company, and other opportunities, exploring other opportunities.
Okay. And that's it. So it sounds like I don't know. Actually, what I thought about the other day? I was like, because I sort of write a lot of different skits and things what I do with my friends. And I was like, I should ask Shenique if she want to be in one of them. And then I was like, what would be a good scene? Because I was like, it'd be cool if you play a reporter, but what if you did like a scene where you like this fitness instructor? And you like
Love it.
Shenique Miller coming to another Homemade Hero skit on the way.
Right? Inspire me to continue getting in shape.
But thank you so much for joining me on Erryting Kool. I've thoroughly enjoyed this whole episode.
Oh, well, thank you. I totally enjoyed it as well. Like, I mean, after running around since this morning about 9. No, before 9. Yeah, no, about 9. And now I'm like, I have to hurry, get here. And I enjoyed it. And I love the fact that I made it happen. And you are a great interviewer. And you made me feel excellent to share some of my story.
Of course. But like I always say, thank y'all for watching. We can see y'all later. Yeah, see.